The Los Angeles Lakers are the greatest franchise in the NBA.
No, it's forced upon us by the media.
You tune in to watch basketball because the Lakers are playing. That's why you watch.
Do they have more championships than the Boston Celtics?
What does it have to do with us?
Kobe and Shaq might not even be the best 1-2 punch all time for the Lakers.
Oh my gosh.
New York Knicks are the greatest franchise.
Who has more championships?
You have to win to be the best. And the Lakers have not done that consistently.
The 2020 championship was way harder than people give credit for.
It doesn't matter.
Oh, it doesn't matter.
All you guys did this season was sell a bunch of Luka and Bronny jerseys.
Welcome to Fan vs. Hater. Today we have basketball savant and Lakers super fan, legend of winning, better known as Low. Today he's going against a dream team of Laker haters. We're going to go through several debate topics, and at the end, our esteemed panel of judges will let us know who emerged victorious. Low, take it away with the first topic.
The Los Angeles Lakers are the greatest franchise in the NBA.
What's up, man?
Not much, man. Not much.
5 of those titles belong to Minnesota, not to LA.
Okay.
You still hanging on to that bubble title? Talk to me.
Yes, we are. That counted. You know, everybody was there. All the teams were there. They were available. They were playing. So yes, that counts. And Minnesota is still the Lakers. I mean, still Lakers. So I don't understand. Just because we move cities, that doesn't change the fact that it happened with the Lakers. That doesn't change anything at all.
That says Los Angeles on your chest, though.
But the word that's bigger is Lakers. The Lakers are the bigger word there. That's what really happens. That's what really matters.
Tell me about this bubble title. Glorified AAU. Grown men playing AAU is nasty work, my guy.
But they were all there, though. Everybody was there.
The audience was on a Zoom call,
and they were there too. Everybody was there. If anything, that should make it. We're getting way too ahead of ourselves. Look, all I know is this: this is the greatest franchise ever, bro. This is second most championships in the NBA. You're talking about what we did back in the day. That still counts, especially you're gonna count what the Celtics did. And on top of that, we've been able to stay relevant practically every single last decade, star after star after star. That's something that no other franchise in the league can say.
All
so you
flash,
sitting there talking
no
about
substance.
one. How is it no substance? It
all
has more.
flash. You never developed nobody.
Okay.
Who'd you
let's,
develop?
Let's calm
Magic?
down. We're getting way too ahead of ourselves. Who your favorite team?
Myself, Combo.
Oh, okay. Good answer, because you know for a fact your franchise wouldn't be able to match up with mine. So that's a really, really great answer.
I am the franchise.
Yeah, you would have to say that because no other franchise would be able to match up with the Lakers, so you would have to say those things. But look, Lakers are the greatest franchise in the NBA. You tune in to watch basketball because the Lakers are playing. That's why you watch. Let's be honest with
No,
ourselves.
it's forced upon us by the media.
Oh,
Everything Lakers.
Oh, so but you can't tell me who you watch though.
All you guys did this season was sell a bunch of Luka and Bronny jerseys. Come on.
He still can't tell me. And this is 1 year. We talking about the course of the totality of their existence. By far the best franchise in the NBA. You can't even refute that right now.
The Celtics are the most dominant franchise, and they always been in Boston, man.
What happened in
always.
the 90s? What happened in the 90s?
What happened in the 90s?
You tell me. What happened in the 90s?
You guys missed more playoffs. You guys missed more playoffs than you
2020?
made. You guys missed more playoffs than you made in the past 20 years.
So what? 20 years. You see how you stopped it at 20 though? You see how you stopped it at 20?
What, you want to go back to the 60s?
We didn't do I keep saying the whole thing.
When you were in Minneapolis?
It's still Lakers, dog. You talking about different
might as well give them to the T-Wolves.
Lakers.
Tell me what talent the Lakers have developed.
Bro,
Tell me.
You're getting a little too ahead of yourself right now, because
You keep saying that.
First of all, Kobe, Magic, a bunch of.
You got Kobe from Charlotte.
Where did he develop from though? Where did he develop?
In Italy.
Oh, he developed in Italy. Oh man, that's tough. Man, look, we're the greatest franchise. You can't refute that. You tell me about a Celtics team where a majority of their majority of championships will happen in a 10-year span. After that, they became practically irrelevant for only 3 years. That's it. Between the 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, they had like 3 or 4 championships throughout like a 40-year stretch. Majority of the championships are happening in one 10-year stretch. Bill Russell, that's it. After that, it was done.
You still hanging on to Showtime, in-season tournament victories, and bubble championships,
Showtime.
man. Glorified AAU.
Showtime, Shaq and Kobe, Kobe and Powell, a whole bunch of stuff, man.
Okay, not bad. Not bad. A lot of good arguments put out there for sure.
Not gonna lie,
What's good, man?
you're the biggest hater, man. I've seen you before, so you're.
Oh, wow.
You're just a hater.
Okay.
All right.
So my name precedes me, and I'm happy, but I'm happy to debate you. You're very knowledgeable. So let's get to the facts.
Okay.
You started saying that the Lakers are the greatest franchise. Do they have more championships than the Boston Celtics?
No.
Are they the most valuable franchise in the NBA?
Right now?
Yes.
No.
Number 3. Okay. Are they the most viewed franchise in the NBA?
Depends on what day it is.
No. Do they?
Who?
The Golden State Warriors. Do they sell
Who's second?
the Knicks?
The Knicks?
Yes.
In what capacity?
In terms of overall viewership, who sells the most jerseys?
I think it's the Lakers, actually.
It's the Golden State Warriors.
Golden
Stephen
State
Curry,
Warriors.
the number
Still
one
War-
jersey
Whoa,
seller
wait,
in the world.
Curry sells the
Yes.
most. That team doesn't sell more than the Lakers.
Well,
though.
listen, we only talk about the player, right? LeBron
No.
James, I think, is number 2 or 3. And I don't think
we
any-
don't just talk about the player. We talk about the team.
Well, listen, now
it's
y'all
not
got-
just
next-
LeBron.
next-
It's also Luka. Then it was AD. There's no way you're telling me Draymond Green sells more jerseys than AD.
Listen,
There's no way you're telling me that.
Curry's carrying Draymond in jersey sales too. But let's just stick to the
Oh,
facts. So they're
okay,
not the
okay,
most
okay.
valuable. They don't win the most. They don't sell the most. So what is
Well,
your
they do
argument?
sell the most.
What's your argument for saying that they're the greatest franchise? What is this argument based on?
They do sell the most. Just because one player on the Warriors sell more than everybody else doesn't mean that they sell the most. So let's establish that.
Okay.
Also, any team, any player that comes to this team immediately change the whole complexion of the entire NBA. Curry's been on the Warriors. The Warriors were not relevant, nor as relevant as once the Lakers got Luka. Jimmy Butler came on there, still wasn't as relevant. But overall, yes, the Celtics, they got us in championships. But again, that's a 10-year stretch, right? What happened again, like I said, 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, 20s. Like, you can go beyond that 50s and early 60s, right? You know, beyond that stretch of years, everything else has been dominated by the Lakers. Every single decade, the Lakers have been relevant. You tell me which franchise can say that. Which franchise can say throughout 60s till now has been relevant in every single decade?
I'll tell you right now, you mentioned them, the Boston Celtics have always been relevant. And you're talking about back in the day and who's won chips in a span. 11 of the Lakers championships were before the three-point line was even implemented. So a lot of the things that you're basing your argument off of are applicable to the Lakers as well. And you talk about acquiring star talent. The Lakers are a team that's known to steal, right? They steal players in order to shift narratives. And then you're talking, and then you bring up relevance. The Lakers aren't relevant right now because they're at home. Right? They got Doncic and they got sent home. But you know who's still playing right now?
Who?
Wardell Stephen Curry, number 30.
Well, technically speaking, he's not playing right now.
Well, he won't play tonight.
Technically speaking, he wasn't.
The Warriors have the best medical staff in the NBA. He will be back.
Last time, wait, let me ask you, the last time the Lakers played the Warriors in the playoffs, what happened?
The Lakers won.
Okay, the Lakers won. Also, in terms of, let's go back into what you said about the championships. Majority of them won before the three-point line. Again, that's in contrast to what you said about the Boston Celtics. However, since then, again, I asked the question. You said they were dominant or relevant in every decade. In the 90s, name me the Celtics that were relevant in the 90s.
You're right. They weren't relevant.
Okay, so there's
after
another,
91, what Lakers were relevant? Until
Shaq?
2000. That's in 2000. That's not
in
90 to
1996, when we got Shaq, they were relevant, correct?
Did they win?
Relevant and
winning matters.
If we're talking about winning, then that's even a bigger gap for the Celtics. So don't set yourself up for that.
Well,
because after Bird won, it was 2008 until they won again.
You're correct.
And then you're talking about stealing and acquiring. They didn't get another championship till they got KG and Ray Allen. So let's establish that again.
Correct.
So
You are
again,
correct.
so from the end of the Bird era when they won, up until the one championship in 08, up until just last year, we're talking about one chip in what, 30, 35 years? You call that relevant? You questioning the relevancy of the Lakers within that time frame, but you bring up the Celtics who won one championship in a 35-year period. Stop it. And again, they don't have to be the best in every single last category. I mean, my goodness, you hate on them enough anyway. Don't give them even more ammo. But if they continue to dominate the way they do, they may not be number one in jersey sales, but second. They may not be the most watched, but third, fourth. I mean, and I don't know about the Knicks. The Knicks maybe recently because of Jalen Brunson, but for most of our existence, it's been the Lakers.
Yes. So I think you made some very, very valid points. But the fact of the matter is, I asked you, why do you think they're the most valuable franchise? And your answer was they were relevant. in my eyes, being from New York, relevance isn't enough. You have to win to be the best. And the Lakers have not done that consistently, and that's the reason why they're home right now, because they're acquiring talent and it's not homegrown. And that is why the Golden State Warriors and Stephen Curry are the most relevant franchise and the model franchise for all teams in the NBA right now.
And it, all right. Speaking of 6 years,
Beating your Lakers in 91, MJ outshining Magic Johnson. And the only reason why people still talk about the Lakers is just the media hype. You guys absolutely disrespect all your role players. Even if you win your championship, you're not grateful. Like how Danny Green got depth dressed when he missed a shot in Game 5 of the 2020 Finals. You guys trying to hype up talentless Horton Tucker like he's next on deck, and he's pretty irrelevant now.
since he left since he left the Lakers, right?
He's been pretty irrelevant
Yeah, since he left the Lakers. How do you know about THT?
because everyone overhyped him like
Because
he's
he
some
was
big
on the
thing.
Lakers.
But
Okay,
the
thank you.
Lakers fool a lot of people with their role player hype.
Oh, okay. He just told the guy before you just told me that people don't know about the role players. They're just nobody knows them. But now you're telling me that everybody now knows them. Again, most relevant, consistently, one of the better teams in the NBA, especially in contrast to other teams. You're a Bulls fan, I'm assuming.
Michael Jordan fan.
Michael Jordan fan.
4-1 on your Lakers in 91.
4-1 on my Lakers. Absolutely. You're right. You're absolutely right. I would then ask the question, what have the Bulls done since?
They haven't done too much because they got a pretty lousy owner, and because Michael Jordan is so good, everyone intimidated going to the Bulls.
Oh, everyone's intimidated now. This is actually a really great example of why exactly the Lakers are a great franchise. The Lakers have had all-time great talent on their roster, and they continue to build towards another subsection of dominance. The Bulls have struggled to do so since they were struggling to do so before. And then when Jordan left, everybody else left. They had the ability to rebuild. They had all the draft capital in the world, and then they failed to do so. And so now, again, if you are asking me about how dominant my franchise is and what they've been able to accomplish, the Bulls are a perfect example to why it's not as easy as people make it out to be, because you had Michael Jordan and haven't done nothing since.
All these years later, everyone's still talking about Michael Jordan like he's playing today.
You're right. They're talking about Michael Jordan, not the Bulls.
Michael Jordan's still as relevant as the Lakers franchise today that's
Michael
still playing.
Jordan, but not the Bulls.
The Bulls are not irrelevant, but the Boston Celtics, they have more championships than the Lakers. And the players are also not as talented as the Lakers all time because they have cohesiveness. They got good chemistry, dating from the Bill Russell Celtics.
Or maybe they just can't draft well, but I mean that could also be a part of it, yeah.
Boston, yeah, they Tatum and Brown from the Nets. That's called being smart, building culture.
What happened before Tatum and Brown though? Who they draft?
Larry Bird.
You see had to go all the way back to the 80s? 80s. So from Jason Tatum all the way to the 80s, they're saying Paul Pierce in the background. So from Jason Tatum to the 90s, look how much of a gap that is in talent. Acquisition, come on, what are we talking about?
Boston was irrelevant because of the death of Lim Bias in '86, a few days after he was drafted. And also Reggie Lewis was one of the great players in the 90s, and he passed away tragically in '93. That cost the Boston Celtics big time.
RIP. They had RIP.
Yeah, that was crazy.
They had other draft picks since then and still weren't able to draft anybody. And they had great talent on their roster. For example, they had Chauncey Billups, but they didn't know what to do with him because they were an inadequate franchise, so they ended up losing him.
They were still decent for a little bit in 2002 when Paul Pierce overtook Allen Iverson in the playoffs.
2002, 1 year.
That's
great, man. One year.
And
One
the
year.
Celtics beat the Lakers in the NBA Finals. 9 wins, Lakers only 3 wins. A lot of it in the 60s, just by one possession in devastating fashion. Very shameful.
Shout out to Bill Russell, man. Shout out.
All right, devastating fashion. I know that.
What up, baby?
What up with you?
Yeah. Big Brooklyn. Big New York on my body.
Okay.
You?
Brooklyn Nets.
No.
Oh.
I'm out here like Spike Lee. I wear black and white on Sundays.
Okay.
We lit.
Okay.
I just want to get straight to it. So I want to change the parameters around why you say LA is the best franchise. Now, everybody talking relevancy. I think one of the points made earlier was about media and the Hollywood blueprint. I agree. So when you think about what makes a franchise relevant, for me, it's culture. And when I say culture, I mean what is a household name, right? My mother don't watch basketball, but she know about the Knicks, right? Like, my sister to this day remembers me in my room crying on 1999 when we lost. Like, culture, right? It's ingrained in everything. It transcends into music. It transcends into fashion, right? And so I feel like the Lakers is a little aight with that, you know what I mean? Because of the Hollywood aspect of it.
Okay.
Now, my argument is I feel like New York is different.
Okay.
In terms of culture. Why? Because I can go to Geneva, Switzerland and talk about the Knicks and they know who I'm talking about. Not just Jalen Brunson, but the New York Knicks because of Madison Square Garden. Okay. Madison Square Garden has created a culture that transcends sport, right? Billy Joel played at the Garden, right? And great players do what at the Garden? Show out at the Garden, right? And we got the mini Garden, right? It's called Rucker Park. It's called Gersh Park, right? So when we talk about the greatest franchise, bro, we got to talk about culture. And when we talk about culture and rap music and sneakers, big New York on my body, WNBA socks on my toes, bro, you got to understand, like, I'ma say New York is the best franchise because every part of fashion, you come here. Met Gala, you here. New York Fashion Week, you here. Restaurant Week, you here eating French fries and pizza. Like, everybody want to come to New York just to go to a Knicks game, whether they give about the Knicks or not. Even when we losing, we still selling out Madison Square Garden, bro.
Okay. So that's a New York argument,
Yeah,
not a
day.
Knicks, not
All
a Knicks.
day, all day.
But okay, let's talk about the Knicks culture, right? Culture-wise, you had an owner that was egregiously bad. Yeah, terrible. Okay, that was great culture there. On Isaiah Thomas was running the franchise. Oh my goodness, that was great culture. Also,
Why you wanna bring up ownership?
I'm just saying. That's all a part of it right there.
All right, Jeannie,
I mean, we be honest with ourselves. The culture really hasn't changed until recently. Even when Melo was there, the culture wasn't even all that great.
I disagree.
The culture has been inconsistent. The Lakers culture, first of all, we talking about identifiable. The Lakers are easily one of the most identifiable franchises in all of sports. So yeah, so
they're identifiable, but they're not a house. My argument was that it's a household name.
You don't think the Lakers are a household name?
Kobe is.
You don't think the I
give Magic.
You don't think the Los Angeles Lakers?
No. When I travel abroad, no one's talking about the Los Angeles Lakers. They're talking
about
Kobe.
the New York Knicks?
Yeah, they are. Yeah, they are.
They're
Big Nick on my body, bro. Yes, they are.
They're talking about the Knicks before the Lakers?
Yes.
More people know.
Because New York is better, bro.
New York. Say
right,
the city.
And where the Knicks come from, bro?
The
you
city.
saying the city. You
the
said
city.
to my man that he couldn't talk about Minneapolis because the Lakers in Los Angeles. Right, they're synonymous. They're synonymous, right? L.A., Lakers.
Okay.
New York, Knicks. All right. You see the choir in the back, bro? So all I'm saying is they great, they cool, they cute. No, not Kobe. Rest in peace, GG. We love y'all. However, when we talk about culture and it transcending beyond sport is my argument why the New York Knicks are the greatest franchise. Basketball culture, we sucked for 15 years. And I was mad.
Okay.
I was mad we were in
So you admit it. So you admit it.
We were bad basketball culture. But when we talk about overall culture that makes a franchise relevant,
no, I think there's a lot of similarities. Y'all got Spike Lee. They got Jackson on the sideline. There's a lot of similarities.
who know Jack Nicholson now?
The point I'm making is there's a lot of similarities. The difference is one wins more than the other, okay? And we're talking about the actual team, not the city, the team.
In the city that it's from. And so that's what I'm talking about. I'm changing the parameters.
No. You're
the
changing
team,
it.
Yeah, of course.
I'm not talking about which city's better. I'm talking about
which team is better. That comes from the better city. That's what I'm saying.
So why don't the Brooklyn Nets get that love?
Because the Brooklyn Nets, one, they're very small. It's like America talking about Africa. America only been around 200, 300, 400 years. Africa been around for eons. So it's the same. If you're talking about the New York Knicks, who've been around, literally, they're one of the founding franchises of the NBA.
And what have they been doing since their foundation?
Oh, they've been doing everything. We've been doing everything. If you're only going to go with championships.
I mean, that's what we're talking about. We're talking about winning, relevancy, the dominance of the actual team.
No, that's what you're talking about. I'm talking about culture. I'm talking about I could go abroad and somebody know who the New York Knicks are.
All right, double bang. Wrap it up. LA is one of the worst places in the world. But that doesn't necessarily reflect on Lakers versus Knicks judges. Yeah. What are we looking for? How did this one go?
I would say that I'm kind of disappointed in us right now because I wanted to stick to our arguments. I feel like he kind of really stayed on topic. A lot of us kind of more opinion-based, a lot about the stuff. Like hers was more opinion-based too. I feel like New York is a better city, but LA basketball is a better basketball team. Like if we're gonna compare them, like.
I do think that the Lakers fan did win this one. The reason I choose that is because you guys were, as the fans, you guys were moving the totem pole a little too much. He asked who the best franchise was. and he claimed that the Lakers was the best franchise. As far as the Boston Celtics being the only argument, and the Golden State Warriors as well. I know you brought up there's the medical staff, Wardell Curry, things of that nature, and it's a good point. I think
Ticket sales, viewership.
yeah, absolutely. I think those were all great points, but none that could refute the fact that everything he brought up about the Lakers, yes, they do bring in superstars, but being a great franchise organization, you guys got to bring superstars in.
All right, I'll go last. I'm going to give it to the fan.
No.
Early.
Back door is open.
Not a lot of time.
He stayed on topic about the franchise. Obviously, the Warriors and the Celtics, like, my opinion, they're a better franchise, which was a valid argument. But y'all didn't even talk about the Spurs. It was some couple of teams that y'all didn't bring up, and y'all just focused on, like, you know, your team.
It's tough because room full of New Yorkers don't want to applaud Boston, but that probably was the way to go. Yeah. All right, let's go to the next topic.
Kobe Bryant is a top 5 player of all time.
Oh, out his way.
Oh, he came straight to the seat. I like that.
How you doing?
I'm doing well, man.
Oh, that's great. All right.
Seem like you're ecstatic about this one.
I am.
Okay.
I am. So Kobe Bryant's a top 5 player of all time to you.
Yes.
Would you care to list the other 4? No order needed.
I can. Michael, LeBron, Kareem, and then Duncan between 4 and 5 with Kobe.
So you don't have Magic over Kobe.
No.
Why?
Two-way impact, did it longer, just as many championships winning wise, and he was able to sustain impact longer than Magic was.
He was able to sustain an impact longer.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Magic's career did get cut short in
It did.
91.
It
yeah,
did
so,
get cut
so to
short,
be
for
fair,
sure.
Fair to Magic.
How would you describe Kobe's last several years in the NBA?
Bad. I mean, it was 3 years where he tore his Achilles, so yeah.
Yes. But what did the Lakers really do, and Kobe especially, do of note after their 2010 championship?
What
During
did they do?
Kobe's career.
I mean, they still competed, made the playoffs, tried to make another run at it. I think if we're going to hold the 3 years post 2010,
Yeah.
it's kind of, I don't know, there's majority of top 10, top 15 players that have those stretches throughout their careers.
So he had that stretch right towards the end of his career,
Mm-hmm.
the 3 where he's healthy and then the 3 where he's not so healthy and kept playing. And then let's talk about the beginning of his career where he kind of understandably had a slow start, very young coming into the league, especially on the first half of those 3 rings.
Okay.
Definitely more Shaquille O'Neal
Okay.
heavy, right?
Okay.
I think we can agree on that.
Okay.
Where does Kobe's kind of prime come in and this like longevity?
I think prime-wise, you can start it from either 2000 or 01 all the way to 2013. The peak of what you may be referring to is definitely in between like 03 to 2009 and 2010, which is, I think, a pretty long, sustained level of excellence. And I think, again, if we're starting at 2001 to 2013, that's like 12, 13-year stretch.
Sure.
So,
and
yeah.
they did a lot of nothing in the middle, right after Shaq left and before.
What,
Pau
2 or 3
Gasol.
years?
There's like 4 years at least.
4? Okay, I mean,
All
okay.
right, all right. So we're talking about 2000, right? And even then, in 2000, that's if you're gonna call that Kobe's
it's 3
prime,
years.
that first ring, still very heavy Shaq stuff here.
The first ring,
Yes.
yes, okay.
Okay, so we're really talking about like 2001, and you said all the way to 2013, but I'm saying they really didn't do that much from 2010 to 2013.
Yeah, name.
So
What is
we
your
really
top? What's
gotta-
your top 5?
We got LeBron. We got Michael Jordan.
LeBron. You started with LeBron, and you're talking about winning
I didn't
championships
say-
throughout a
did
stretch.
I say in
okay.
order?
Okay, I'm just saying. You said
Right.
LeBron. I'm saying
right.
you were able to acknowledge that somebody can
But I'm
still
not
be
saying
great
them in
without
order.
winning a
I'm not
championship.
saying-
So I'm
Okay,
saying is
yeah,
you can
yeah.
acknowledge that somebody's being great without them having to win a championship. Correct?
Sure.
Okay.
I
So
mean,
LeBron and who else?
But all right, LeBron, Michael Jordan,
Okay.
Tim Duncan, Magic Johnson.
okay, Tim Duncan's another one where he went through stretches of years without winning a championship. Correct?
Yeah, but like
What happened between 2007 and
did Tim Duncan have the
2013?
teammates that Kobe had?
No. But I'm asking, what, between 2007 and
Okay.
2014, though that stretch
Sure.
of years, what was he doing?
He was in the playoffs, was he not?
Okay.
Did they not beat the Lakers?
No.
Well, not in that time
I would
frame.
say in that
Okay.
time
Not
frame,
in
the
that
Lakers
time
beat
frame,
them.
not
No.
that
In that
time
time frame, the
frame.
Lakers actually beat them.
But
the point I'm making is that when
they
you
made the
don't-
finals in 2013, right?
and they lost in 2013.
Okay, but we're talking about the Lakers like competing. You said that in the making
Yeah.
the playoffs is competing. So the Spurs are always in the playoffs, right?
it's just
Tim
one. It was
Duncan-
1 year where Kobe didn't make the playoffs.
And that's
So
a wrap.
Yeah, that's it. That's
There
it.
you go,
That's
there
it.
you
That's
go.
it.
All right, thanks, man.
Yeah, go on.
Come on, fans, fight back.
Top 5?
Top
Come
5.
on, man.
Top five.
There's 3 Lakers that are better than Kobe. And
me
rest
hear
in
it.
peace, Kobe.
Let me hear it.
Will Chamberlain, LeBron James, and Magic Johnson, the greatest Laker.
Okay.
Tim Duncan, you already admitted, is better. And we all know Michael Jeffrey Jordan is better than Kobe Bryant. So how is he in the top 5? My guy, there's not 20 top 5 guys.
Why is Wilt better?
He averaged 50, bro.
Well, did he win?
Of course.
No, did he win?
He won a championship.
No, did he win averaging 50?
But he won a championship and he averaged 50.
So he didn't win. Okay.
Changed
cool.
rules.
All right, cool.
You know he used to dunk from the free throw line?
He tried to do that.
No, he
and
did
they
it.
changed it.
He did
it behind the scenes. They didn't do it. Great for Wilt.
But who's the greater player? But who's the greater player?
I would say Kobe is.
How so?
Because Kobe's impact, again, just because you go out there and put up a bunch of numbers, that does not, if it don't translate to anything, doesn't mean nothing. Something that will openly acknowledge himself. That's the reason why he adjusts his game as he continued to get older. So the idea of him going out there averaging 50, but if it didn't relate to anything, what is the point? Right? So Kobe had the ability to go out there and average 35 in a slower pace era, much more updated and modern, while still also adjusting his game to compete at a very high level while still being a dominant player
This
as well.
era is all about analytics. He didn't do it as efficiently as Wilt.
Well,
Or Jordan. Or even LeBron.
Well, the efficiency when it comes to Wilt is questionable with his free throw shooting. If you want to say LeBron and Jordan, that's fine. LeBron and Jordan, that's fine. But then you're bringing up other players that, again, Magic, not on the defensive side of the floor, and I love Magic.
He was the best player on his championship teams.
How?
He was the best player on his championship
Well,
teams.
what proves
3
that?
of those of Kobe's came with Shaq.
Well, what proves that?
Watch him play.
Kareem?
He's Magic Johnson.
Kareem
Kareem was old at the time.
Kareem was old.
40.
Kareem was old when
Kareem
they won
was
their first.
40 like LeBron.
Kareem was old when they won their first championship.
Yes.
He was old.
He was after 35.
He won MVP when they first won
Exactly.
championship.
He's great.
Okay, so how does
And
that
he's
make
better
him,
than Kobe Bryant.
Whoa. Kareem, I agree. If Kareem won MVP, I've already named 3. I already named 3. I said Michael, LeBron, Kareem, and then Duncan and Kobe to me are interchangeable.
Michael Jordan was better, right? We got to name him.
I said Michael,
Okay.
LeBron, Kareem, and then Tim Duncan and Kobe interchangeable.
Larry Bird, 3 MVPs in a row, 30, 10, and 10.
No.
Clearly the more
So,
efficient,
what
the better
if-
rebounder, the better passer, and the better scorer
But
than
not
Kobe
the
Bryant.
better winner, though.
What do you mean? He won 3 MVPs in a row and 3 championships, and he was clearly the best
Who
player
has
on
more
his team.
championships?
It doesn't matter.
Oh, it
He won
doesn't
3
matter.
No, because
Well,
Shaq,
how does it not matter?
Because Shaq was the best player on 3 of those teams.
Well, okay, what was Larry
You
Bird?
think if Larry Bird had Shaq, he wouldn't win 7?
I don't know that because when Larry Bird
I know that.
when Larry Bird didn't have Shaq in his first championship, Larry Bird had like 2 games where he averaged less than 10 points. He posted up less than 10 points in 2 of those games. He was so underwhelming in his first championship. They gave the Finals MVP to Sedwell Maxwell.
When he was a rookie?
No, it actually wasn't. It was like his second year, but he was good enough.
You want to take it all the way back to rookie seasons? Kobe was shooting air balls. That's what we're gonna do.
You would have to.
That's crazy.
You would have to do that for Larry Bird because it's such a short year. It's such a short career.
Larry Bird did everything better than Kobe. Everything
except for win more.
Except play defense.
And defense on top of that.
He did more with less. Way better passer.
He did more
way better
with less.
rebounder.
After Shaq, he did more with less.
Yes, he did.
He had McHale, Parrish. He couldn't win after that, so he had to bring in
Magic,
Johnson,
LeBron, Bird, all make their teammates better. Kobe never did that.
Kobe didn't make Pau Gasol better.
No, Pau Gasol made Pau Gasol better.
Even though Pau Gasol,
one of the most underrated bigs ever.
Even though Pau Gasol
he
said
was always
himself,
great.
even though Pau Gasol said himself he made himself better.
Come on, man.
Derek Fisher said he made himself better. Ron Artest, Trevor Ariza, Lamar Odom.
Ron Artest
all
was the
those
MVP
things.
candidate with the Rockets. What are you talking about?
I don't know what year you're referring to because I
I'm
never
referring
seen
to
that
the
year.
year.
I don't know about that year at all. I've
Look
never
it
heard
up.
that year.
Look it up.
But saying that
Look
Kobe
it up.
never made nobody better when players have openly admitted that he literally made them
Nobody
better.
wants to play with Kobe Bryant. Rest in peace, but nobody wanted to play with him, bro.
So Pau didn't want to play with him?
We got New York legends talking about like Smush Parker. He was the worst person. He didn't even talk to Smush.
Ron Artest didn't want to play with him?
What?
Ron Artest didn't want to play
Nobody
with him?
wanted to play with him, bro.
So why did he come to the team? Why did Meta come
It's
to the team?
media driven, just like all your Lakers
media
propaganda.
driven. Oh, man, that's tough. That's tough. That's tough.
Oh, my God.
Oh, man, this is about to get really disgusting.
Backwards.
That's got to get really disgusting. Okay.
We meet again.
Yes, we do.
So before we even begin, we agree on the top 4. So right now we're debating over the 5th spot.
Okay.
Stephen Curry is better than Kobe Bryant.
Why?
Stephen Curry, number 1, elevates his game in the NBA Finals more than Kobe Bryant when it counts the most. He averages more points and assists in the finals than Kobe Bryant does. Stephen Curry has only lost in the first round 1 time. Kobe Bryant has lost 3 times in the first round. Stephen Curry has never been swept in the playoffs. Kobe Bryant has been swept in the playoffs. Stephen Curry's offensive play has never cost his team a chip. Kobe's offensive play cost him the chip against the Detroit Pistons. And you could take that from the play.
2016?
Let me finish.
20. But before you,
His offensive play did not cost him a championship
in
in 2016.
2016, his offensive play did not cost him a championship in 2016.
No, Adam Silver and suspending Draymond Green cost him a
He
championship.
still had two more opportunities to win with Draymond. He still couldn't do it.
Well, and then what happens? Andrew Bogut also missed those games. So let me just finish the facts. Let me finish. Let's get those things out the way. Okay. Now we can also get to the longevity argument. Stephen Curry has more longevity than Kobe Bryant did.
How?
Stephen Curry's in his 16th season. They are still active and in the playoffs. Stephen Curry is 37 years old. What was Kobe Bryant doing at the age of 37?
Well, nursing an Achilles.
Oh, exactly. Let me just finish the argument.
Okay.
Now we could talk about MVPs. Stephen Curry has 2 of those. One of those being the only unanimous MVP in NBA history.
Congrats.
Okay? Kobe does have him in a chip edge because Kobe has one more championship, and I concede that. But as a player, Stephen Curry is better.
Okay, a couple of things. Let's go back. A, he's without a doubt lost. Okay. Let's settle down. He without a doubt lost a championship due to his inability to score. Matter of fact, yes, because in 2016, especially down the stretch in Game 7, he was not able to score. Furthermore, his inability to create on his own was a big reason why they brought in Kevin Durant, because they were struggling against the Houston Rockets when KD was on the team. Not only he admitted, but Draymond also admitted as well that they needed someone to create for their own when they were switching, which I know you know that. All defensive teams, the whole other side of the ball, Kobe is far superior than he is. And then you also speak about MVPs. Congratulations, 2 MVPs to 1. I think you're intelligent to know that just because you win more MVPs does not make you the better player. By that logic, there's a bunch of people who are better than Shaquille O'Neal, and you don't believe those things.
It encompasses a lot more than that, correct?
You don't. Okay. So the longevity, I want to say that he's been in the NBA for 16 years. How many of those 16 years have been relevant, dominant, all-NBA caliber years?
Since 2014, so over 11 years.
Well, not all the way, because some of those years he got hurt, like in 2020. A couple of other years he has shortened seasons. So, again, how many of them?
It's still 11 seasons.
11. How many for Kobe?
Where he was what?
He made All-NBA.
You have to tell me. I don't know.
If I'm not mistaken, he has either the most or second most All-NBA selections of all time. Okay, so Kobe still has him in longevity. Now, let's also...
No, I'm not agreeing with you there.
Well, if you just sat there and said it's only 11...
How many seasons did Kobe play?
20-something.
20-something. And in the last 5 years, what did he do?
It's not 5, it's just 3. 3 when he got the Achilles.
So in the last 3 years of his career, he didn't produce anything, right? They didn't make the playoffs. After that last championship run, they
still made the playoffs.
But they stalled out, right?
Okay, what was Curry doing between 2019 up until 2020 or 2022?
He won a championship in 2022.
I'm saying in between that gap, what was he doing?
He was hurt for 1 year. Then they lose in a play-in. And then what happens? He said, you don't want to see us next year. And then the next year he walked out and won a finals MVP.
Okay, and then the next year...
They lost, right?
2.
Draymond Green punched to the Lakers.
Okay. So I just want to establish, just because you go stretches without winning doesn't mean that all of a sudden you're relevant, right? The point I'm making is that you can still win. So even beyond 2010, Kobe is still relevant, playing really great basketball, 2011, 2012, and 2013. He's not playing great basketball, making all NBA teams and making all defensive teams, still making the playoffs, still being one of the best scorers in the NBA.
Well, he wasn't playing great basketball. His selfishness is what he was doing, right? And this is respect to the late, great Kobe Bryant. But Kobe Bryant was a selfish player, which is why they lost to the Pistons, because they know Kobe would shoot them out of it. So when we look at elevation of the game when it matters the most, that goes to Steph Curry as well. Kobe Bryant is not the single best thing at anything when we talk about basketball. He's not the best mid-range. He doesn't have the best footwork. He doesn't shoot the best. He's not efficient. When you talk about being the best...
He's not efficient?
Kobe Bryant is not efficient.
Well, that's a lie. That is a lie.
No, it's a fact.
No. What you're saying is irrefutably a lie. That is a lie.
Stephen Curry is the best shooter, right? He's also one of the best screening guards. He also elevates his teammates, and he gets guys paid. He got Harrison Barnes paid.
These are all things that Kobe does as well.
No, who did Kobe get paid?
He got Trevor Ariza paid. He got Shannon Brown paid. He got all the players that were on the team.
Shannon Brown did not make the kind of money that these guys are making.
He got Trevor Ariza paid. The reason why most of us know about Trevor Ariza is because it started with the Lakers. He got Trevor Ariza paid. When Meta came on there, he got him another contract as well. Lamar Odom became a much higher paid player and also well-renowned player because playing next to Kobe.
And my last point. Stephen Curry has elevated a franchise from irrelevancy to the most valuable franchise in the NBA, right? Kobe Bryant did not do that. The Lakers were already a household name, as you know.
But these are not.
But let me just finish this.
Okay.
This is a part of basketball, and this is a part of culture. He has shifted the culture of an entire franchise. Okay, that matters.
Please let me get 20 seconds. Okay, so what you're saying is true. However, we've established that these are things in which you do not utilize to justify a top 5 spot. Because if that is the case, Tim Duncan didn't do that, and yet you still have him top 5, correct?
Yeah.
Kareem didn't do that either, and you still have him top.
Well, Kareem did do that, and Tim Duncan also made the San Antonio Spurs a lot more relevant because they didn't win until he got there.
That's true. Kobe also, there was a stretch of basketball where they're not winning until Kobe and Shaq got there. So he still is a part of the relevancy. But again, I want to be clear.
You're contradicting yourself.
But no, what I'm saying is I don't use this to justify being a top 5. I don't think you do either. Because again, that's not the case for Duncan to the degree of which Curry is. Because if that is the case, then why do you not have Curry over Duncan? Why do you have Curry over Kareem?
I think Stephen Curry's top 3 all time, but I just wanted to agree. I wanted to agree on the 4 so that we could just stick to the Curry. Kobe.
Fair enough. However, I still don't think that you utilize that because again, Tim Duncan, Kobe would be over Tim Duncan by a lot of things you just said. Kobe would be over Tim Duncan. Outside the selfish part, Kobe without a doubt elevated the Lakers much more than a lot of other people did.
But you would agree though that Stephen Curry has elevated the Warriors beyond what Kobe did for the Lakers.
I guess it's because the Lakers already were much more established than the Warriors. So, I mean, there's that. But if Kobe played for the Warriors, he would do a lot of the elevation that Curry did as well.
And my man changed the game. Sorry, gotta go.
All right. We're going to go to the judges, and then after this, I'm going to be a little quicker with the shot clock.
I think the fan got it again, the Lakers fan. And the reason why I say that is because Kobe Bryant, they retired 2 of his jerseys. He scored 81 points in the game, and he's iconic. Like, kids to this day, when you shoot a fadeaway, you saying Kobe. That's just iconic. That's just top 5. Good shot or bad shot.
That's a bad shot.
But I'm saying, like, you talking about ball hog, right? Even Jalen Brunson, the jersey you got on.
Brunson is a ball hog.
I'm gonna go second. First thing I'm gonna say is you the ultimate gaslighter when it comes to like the way of arguing with these guys. But the way that you argue, it shows that you guys have to step it up once again. I'm gonna go with the Lakers.
So I would give it to the fans, but I would say that I'm giving it to the haters for that one. I don't think Kobe made my top 5, especially with the arguments that you guys were saying that I think Shaq takes his spot. If we're gonna give him 3 out of 2, then Kobe has 2 rings. So, and then I like Curry because Curry is the best shooter ever. So to say him that he's not, he has to be up there for like just of leading of one specific thing in basketball. Curry is the best thing in that one specific thing.
Yeah, y'all got to judge what they're saying.
And that's why I went off of what you're saying. That's why I was trying to
They got to prove to you.
Hey, let's calm down for a second. It's 2-0 right now. You're down. Let's calm down.
Okay, let's go.
Kobe and Shaq are the greatest duo of all time.
It won't go up to the chair.
Hi, I'm back.
Okay.
Kobe and Shaq are the best duo of all time.
Yes.
So Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen just don't exist in this.
No, they exist.
6 rings.
No, they all exist. Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
so on what basis are Kobe and Shaq better than Scottie and MJ?
Let's rank those 4 players, shall we? Who's number 1?
You're asking, hold on, you want to rank them individually, or you want? I thought you were talking about duos.
We'll get to that point, but who's the best?
Michael Jordan.
Okay, who's second?
I would say Shaq.
Third?
Kobe.
And then there's a massive gap
No,
to get to Pippen.
not necessarily.
There is a massive gap.
There's a massive gap. Kobe's a lot better than
all right.
Scottie Pippen, but don't make it seem like it's like miles wide. It is not miles wide.
pretty miles,
Scottie
maybe
Pippen
miles.
is an elite all-time player.
No, he's
he
a
not?
great player. Yes.
And Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen are the best duo of all time. They got 6 rings together.
Mm-hmm.
They made, as you said earlier, the Bulls what they are.
Yes. Now let's get to that point.
Okay.
They won those championships in large part because of the team, not just solely because of the duo. I say this because Pippen wasn't the same player that he was in '98, and they still won. This team.
Hold on, I want to stop there because you're Lakers, right?
Mm-hmm.
Pippen, even older Pippen, on the Blazers, took them to Game 7.
And he still
and their
lost.
first ring. Yeah, okay, he lost.
Okay, he
But they
lost,
had
okay.
a big lead in the 4th. We're talking about an
Which
older
he
Pippen,
ended up losing,
right? But
okay.
you're saying 98 Pippen was like washed. It's
No,
not him.
I said he wasn't the same. I didn't say he was what. He wasn't the same player.
That Blazers team 3-1 down to Kobe and Shaq. All the way to Game 7,
yeah,
right?
and he still lost. Okay, but the point I'm making is that it still was the reason why they three-peated has a lot more to do with the team themselves rather than just the duo in and of itself. Because again, Pippen wasn't the same player and they were still winning. We're talking about a team that
over
still
6
had
years. Over not
no, yeah, I get what you're saying. But I'm saying
like,
we're still talking about a team that had Horace Grant, B.J. Armstrong, Dennis Rodman, Tony Kukoc.
And
so these are
the Lakers didn't have nobody though.
Name them.
Horry.
Robert Horry was better than any of the players I just named. Name me
7-time champion.
Name
Yeah,
me
for sure,
name me the
for
player
sure.
that's better than any of them names I just named.
Got Derek Fox.
Derek Fox. Who's that?
Sorry.
Whoa, Derek Fox. Whoa.
Sorry, Derek Fisher. I'm sorry.
Derek Fisher. Derek Fisher is better than any of the names I just named.
Debatable. B.J. Armstrong. Definitely debatable. Definitely debatable.
All right, we done. We go.
Definitely
We good, man.
All right, man. All right, man.
I don't want to hear Derek Fisher brought up again. I really don't.
Let's go, chat. Let's go, chat. Turn me up.
Oh wow.
Show them who you are.
What's up?
This is definitely your wheelhouse.
Before talking about Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen, Kobe and Shaq might not even be the best 1-2 punch all time for the Lakers. When you talk about Magic and Kareem, they did win 5 championships together. They dominated throughout the 80s. Only twice in the 80s that they did not make the finals. Kobe and Shaq, they might be 2 of the most talented guys like put together at once, but they had a lot of issues in the chemistry off the court stuff. They self-destructed against Detroit, which was very embarrassing. The Lakers were one of the heaviest favorites in the finals. That got very upset. So that's a big stain on that duo.
Well, I would like to say this. This is actually a really great point to why, again, the Lakers are the greatest franchise of all time. We're sitting here debating one Laker great duo versus another Laker great duo, so I do appreciate that. The difference that I would like to sit here and say, though, however, is that you say 5 championships. One of those championships that they won, Kareem was nowhere near close to the same player he was. He was out there giving you like 10 and 8. He was towards the end of his career. I think he was like 40 years old when
He made the
won his
clutch
last
free
one.
throws in Game 6 to help the Lakers stay alive.
Congrats. But the point I'm making is that they weren't the same. Again, the reason why they were so dominant throughout the 80s, again, was more team accomplishment. The fact that the Lakers could go on a three-peat with Shaq and Kobe, and the next best player that people can name on that team might be Derek Fisher.
Rick Fox.
Or Rick Fox, or an older Robert Horry, or whoever. These players are nowhere near close to a James Worthy, to a Dennis Rodman, to a Horace Grant, to any of the other players that these players played alongside with, for them to have that same level of dominance that the Lakers had with just 2 players playing at those levels. The next best player was literally Derek Fox. Think about that, Derek Fox. I'm sorry.
Rick Fox.
Rick Fox. That's like that. That's what I'm saying. These are team accomplishments that people are hanging on. But if we're talking about sheer talent, who the best duo is, even with all of the stuff going off the court, they still were able to dominate the way that they did. Still.
And one of the titles, controversial, Sacramento Kings, Game 6.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Jordan and Pippen 6-0 in the finals.
Congrats.
Like, you
All
got me
we're
there.
gonna
You
do one
got
of
me.
you for this one, and the next person can get first dibs to the next topic, so y'all can pick. No, New Jersey?
Nah, we can leave in Jersey.
You
You already know who I'm gonna say, right?
who? KD and Curry?
Oh, see, you already know what it is. Stephen Curry.
So interesting you say this. This is the same man who said that the Lakers bringing all the stars, but this is the duo that he's talking about. Not the homegrown duo, the duo that they brought in someone else.
I can argue either or.
There's no way you can argue Draymond or Klay Thompson and Curry.
All right, well, we'll start with Kevin
Yes,
Durant.
let's
We got
do
time.
that.
I'll go
Let's
to
do
them.
that.
So Stephen Curry and Kevin Durant, how many series have they lost when they have both been healthy together?
Zero.
Right? Back to back, and they would have three-peated if Kevin Durant didn't suffer that, catastrophic injury. So when we talk about the best duo, they complement each other much more than Shaq and Kobe did. Because again, Shaq and Kobe's internal rifts in the locker room are the reason they had to separate.
Okay.
Kevin Durant and Stephen Curry had no issues, and they played the most beautiful form of basketball that has ever existed. I think everyone can agree there. We would all like to see basketball play like that, where it's unselfish and getting the right shot for the right player. In fact, they were so good that the whole world said that the Golden State Warriors were cheating because they acquired Kevin Durant, because they know just what would happen when you pair Stephen Curry with the player of equal talent.
Okay.
Kobe and Shaq are great, but Stephen Curry and Kevin Durant are the epitome of a 1-2 punch. It's unstoppable. And not only did we see it in the NBA, we saw it in the Olympics. Because when the world was on the line, the gold medal's on the line, where does the ball go? It either goes to KD or it went to Stephen Curry. Even when double teamed, KD knew exactly what to do to get Steph the ball. And that kind of connection is something that we can't even put into numbers or even into words. It's just magic.
Okay. Well, let's
Now we
let's settle down. All right, so let's first let's talk about the chemistry and continuity between it. Sure, I'll give you that. However, I do think that Curry's inability to be more of a vocal leader did tear a little bit at the part. Draymond was out there doing his thing, and that inevitably pushed him to the point. Matter of fact, KD himself said if there were more people who were vocal and more direct with him, then maybe there could have been things that could have been resolved between him and the team. So that's A. B, the best ability is availability. So your inability to finish a three-peat has to go against you. And again, I think that you said compliment. There's a lot in which they did compliment each other. However, I don't think they compliment each other as much as you're giving them credit to, because a lot of things to compliment Curry will have to be more on the defensive side of the floor while also being an extremely good passer, something that Draymond does. I think Draymond compliments Curry way more than KD does. KD elevated what they were already accomplishing, but nowhere near close. But again, the point still stands. You have two players on one team that was still able to do something that duo was not able to do, and that's three-peat without a Draymond, without a Klay Thompson, without all the other pieces. Think about how crazy that is. They were beating the San Antonio Spurs with Tim Duncan. They were blowing leads, still came back, still won. Even with all of these things off the court, they still were able to translate to a three-peat, something that only one other duo can say that they've been able to do. So that level of sheer dominance, while not even having the same supporting cast as everybody else in these conversations, furthers a point to what they were able to accomplish. We're talking about a duo that was taking account for 75% of the points being scored for the team and still winning, doing it confidently. And finally, y'all won, I think, 2017, and you only lost one game. Mm-hmm. You were chasing that duo. Now, and again, with more talent, you were chasing.
You talked about leadership and being vocal.
Mm-hmm.
Kobe Bryant wasn't being a good leader because he went to the media and said that he wanted a trade. Kobe Bryant and Shaq were so, clashing with each other that they wanted to leave. So I can't rank a duo the best that didn't even want to play with each other.
But they did, though. But they did play with each other. They did play each other. Yeah, I guess KD didn't want to play because he literally left, but okay.
He's making points by his mouth.
All right, next topic.
The Lakers front office is underrated.
The Lakers front office is terrible. They never develop talent. Nico Harrison is the best GM the Lakers have ever had.
Okay.
They basically gave him Luka Doncic. You had two generational talents, and you lost in 5 games.
Okay.
JJ is only the coach because he was LeBron's podcast partner. I have a podcast. That doesn't mean I'm going to be the next coach of the Lakers. JJ looks crazy, and you look crazy for loving the Lakers this much.
Well, I will say this. JJ Redick got Coach of the Year vote, so I don't see how terrible he is. And if you actually watch the Lakers, you would never ever say that JJ Redick is a terrible coach. B, in terms of the organization, yes, getting a star player is important. And this is the point that I really want to, drive home to everybody. Getting a star player is important, but building the team around them is just as important. The Cavaliers had LeBron. They didn't win anything with him until he left and had to come back, and they had to build a team around him. Anthony Davis with the Pelicans, they had him. They didn't win anything because they couldn't build the team
what's
around
your overall
him.
point in all this, though?
The point I'm making
the
is
Lakers
that
organization is good or bad?
No, they're amazing. The point I'm making is that they were able to get someone like KCP, a player that everybody had availability to and was not able to sign him and keep him on the board because they couldn't see the potential. Austin Reeves, undrafted prospect. Max Christie, second-round pick. Alex Caruso, another player that was available to everyone, and everybody could have got him, but they did not receive them. They turned Kendrick Nunn, who isn't even playing in the NBA anymore, into Rui Hachimura, who's out there as a starter in the playoff series. So these are all trades in which you have to build out the roster, something that, again, several other franchises are unable to do because they have these stars that the Lakers somehow swindle from everybody, but they weren't able to win because they weren't able to piece together everything else around them.
They didn't develop Lonzo right. They didn't develop. And you're talking about Caruso. Caruso left.
Yeah, he was good on the Lakers, though, as well.
But he left.
Yeah, because we cut. There's a salary cap,
Ingram
so we
left.
can't buy them. We traded
D'Lo,
him.
great experiment. You got rid of him, then you brought him back.
I mean, again, these are players.
You needed a rim running big in Mark Williams. Then you told him he failed his physical. You shipped him back.
I can't change his physical.
That's the piece you needed to win this year.
And I can't change that.
Next to LeBron and Luka. Is that a great organization to you?
Last question. Did any of those players you just named, how well have they developed since they've been gone from the team?
D'Lo is good when he's with Brooklyn.
I don't know if you've watched this. I don't know if you watched this year. I don't know if you watched this
When
year.
Kenny Atkinson was there, he was great. With the Lakers, he was not great. He went back to the Nets and got buckets again. LeBron's supposed to make everybody better. This organization is supposed to make
what's
everybody
Brandon
better.
Ingram doing?
My man over here said that all you do is steal players.
What's Brandon Ingram doing?
Making $100 million.
Yeah, facts.
I mean, is he developed into the player that he was supposed to be?
Because the Lakers never did it.
But he's been on other teams now.
He's super talented.
He's been on other teams now. He's been
super
super talented.
talented.
So why hasn't he developed?
Why didn't Lonzo develop? Why didn't D'Lo develop?
That's a great question.
Ingram.
Why hasn't any of these players developed? They've been gone
The Lakers
already.
are the one drafting them and not developing them, and then all they do is bring stars
They were
in.
only on the team for 2 years.
It's a plastic city.
They were only here for 2 years. 2 years. They can't develop them.
All right. The front office, not talent development.
What's up, bro?
What up with you, man?
What's going on?
What you, man?
The Los Angeles Lakers.
Great fan of your work, man. You do a really great job,
Hey,
man.
man, I appreciate you.
Really
Same
good,
with
man.
you.
Now he's gonna
You do a really great job, man. I love everything you do, man.
Butter him up, bro.
Hey, man, there you go, man. There you go.
Look, the Los Angeles Lakers front office have done some incredible things over the years for sure, but it is not a testament to how good they are. They benefit from the market they are in. These players are coming to LA because they want to make a name for themselves. Shaq came to LA in the 90s because he was not getting the movie deals that he wanted to get in Orlando. So he came to LA, his business was booming, he's still doing it right now. General commercials, you know what I'm saying? He never passes up a bag. You know what I mean? Kobe obviously was something that the Lakers kind of stumbled across, right? They got a 13th pick out of Charlotte and he turned into Kobe Bryant. That's a beautiful thing. LeBron James came to the Los Angeles Lakers, not because Rob Pelinka gave him some crazy great pitch, and if anything, the pitch was about everything off the court than it was on the court, right? Because LeBron was coming into the twilight of his career. At least we think he could be playing till he's 50. We don't know. But the fact is that he came in for the twilight of his career because he wanted to see what his life was going to be like post-NBA. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't about what he was going to do and if they were going to win with the Lakers. And the way that they did that was shipping all those young guys that they drafted and never developed, and they shipped them out to get Anthony Davis. Got that one ring. That wasn't enough because Anthony Davis brought them a ring. He got rid of them too. And now they got Luka. And you're talking about building a team around Luka and LeBron to win. They didn't win. They haven't been winning. Your highlight was Rui Hachimura. What did he do? What has he been doing?
Austin Reeves. Austin
Reeves. All right, that's another guy. Listen, it happens. They stumbled upon Austin Reeves.
It's a lot of stumbling we're doing right now. Just stumbling.
This is the second time. They stumbled upon Kobe. They stumbled upon Austin Reeves.
Caruso?
What about Caruso?
They stumble across him too?
Okay, he was solid, but we acting like Caruso's a huge difference maker on every team that he's been on.
Whoa. Okay. Let me.
I'm saying like he's a solid player, but let's not act like Alex
Okay.
Caruso was somebody that they developed into an amazing talent.
A couple of things. This whole thing about big market gimmick. Okay, why don't nobody go to the Clippers? Why isn't that it took Kawhi and Paul George before anybody went there? Why didn't LeBron go to the Clippers?
Because the brand around the Lakers right now, Hollywood, La La Land, they got 7 different Kardashians courtside every game. That aura that y'all built, it's definitely built. It's there. It's solidified. I'm going to give y'all that. But I'm just saying that is the indicating factor or the contributing factor to players coming to LA. Rarely is it about the roster that they have, or rarely is it about the coach that they have because they're firing coaches left and right over the years. It's always about what they can get off the court. So the Lakers front office is gifted by being in the most beautiful city in the country, with all the most beautiful women, with all the most beautiful opportunities. That's why players go there, not because Rob Pelinka is nice at what he does.
And also the aura that we built for several years and years and years. Because again, the Clippers are here. The Knicks are in a big market. New Jersey's now in the big, not New Jersey. The Nets are now in the big market as well. So these teams are in big markets and people don't go to them like that at all. Then furthermore, I'll concede if you want to say they didn't do nothing for LeBron, they just stumble across him. They traded all their assets to go get AD. Okay, fine. And then even when it comes to Luka, they were gifted that as well. But again, the point still stands. Everything else that they needed to do, they had to put together for the team to win. The rest of the roster still needs to be built for them to win a championship. That's the reason why the Phoenix Suns suck right now, because the rest of the roster is not built adequately enough for them to win a championship. You can have all the talent. Giannis is out there with Milwaukee right now, and they can't win because they tried to do the duo thing. They tried to go out there and get another star, and they failed miserably because the rest of the roster is not properly built. So again, when you have all those other pieces to fill out the hole, the KCPs, the Kyle Kuzma, both JaVale McGee and Dwight Howard to fill out the 5 spot, to give a 5 for AD when we went on the championship run. When we without Danny Green as well, Avery Bradley, all those pieces are very important to win.
Rid of all of them.
But the following year, everybody got hurt, so we couldn't bring them back. And then also people start getting paid. We actually increased KCP's value so much so.
He's a dog.
Exactly. Because nobody wasn't talking about KCP before he got to the Lakers. He was playing for Detroit, and nobody didn't know about him.
Yeah.
He gets in the Lakers. We develop him. We playing really well. He's not playing really great basketball, and here we are now.
He's a champion in Denver now. Now, I'll give you that. But look, last thing I want to say just about the Lakers, and hold up because I was trying to listen to you, and I didn't want to lose my point.
No, you good.
That I didn't. But the last thing I want to say about the Lakers is that Jerry Buss back in the 80s when the Lakers really were kind of like, they had like a real lull after that Jerry West Chamberlain stuff. I'll be done in a sec. Jerry Buss came in and he made the Lakers into the spectacular that it is. Again, It was more about off the court and the atmosphere within the Lakers that made them special. And yes, they were winning because they got Kareem because they were in LA. And Magic did get drafted there. And because of the aura that was built by Magic and Kareem, not the Lakers front office, that's how they were able to get guys like Shaq down the line, because they saw what the Lakers and what being in LA meant for their career, because they blew up in a way that they wouldn't have in Milwaukee.
RP to Jerry West, he literally told Shaq before everybody else knew how good Kobe Bryant was, before
That's
anybody else did. Another general manager. Thank you, Brian. Thank you.
One more on this topic, and then you'll get first dibs if you want for the next one.
Oh, man.
So, due to the Lakers' favoritism of ownership, hiring Magic Johnson, who made a lot of terrible decisions holding the Lakers back, getting rid of Zubac, who's a borderline all-star, for Mike Muscala. What type of stuff is that?
Good.
Rob Pelinka signing Russell Westbrook, almost sabotaged his career. Lakers didn't make the playoffs for a year because of him. They got rid of KCP, who did win a championship. For them, he was the third best player for LA in the bubble, those finals. A lot of terrible decisions. When you guys signed Montrezl Harrell and Dennis Schroeder, 6th man of the year and 6th man runner-up, all the Laker fans were like, oh, we're going to be unstoppable. But guess what? Lost to the Phoenix Suns in the first round.
Okay, all right, let's calm down. Okay, a couple of years we lost because we were hurt. The reason why we lost to the Suns is because AD was hurt, not because the roster wasn't competent enough. Most people probably believe that we would have won if everyone was healthy.
Not since the Nets with Durant's foot, so a lot of other teams were hurt. I could say the same thing about the Clippers and so on.
I'm not even saying it, and I'll admit it. The Westbrook trade was terrible. That was a horrible one. But I'm more so talking about how they're underrated. Yes, they've made mistakes. I don't think there's no franchise that is perfect. I think OKC is probably the closest, but I'm not even saying we're the best. But this idea that we're just this egregiously bad franchise when we've not only won a championship, but we made another conference finals within the within the LeBron era, and also been able to keep competent rosters around him while we're still juggling draft picks, et cetera, and finding quality players in the process as well. Because again, Austin Reeves, Max Christie, these are players and acquisitions without top draft picks, and we're still able to find them. That is a sign of a really, really good franchise. So, yeah.
That team was going nowhere until Nico Harrison decided to make the most shocking move in history. And the Lakers they should have signed Mark Williams, because they had no chance.
He failed his physical. We tried it.
They ain't connected absolutely nothing. JJ Redick didn't even give him a chance.
Well, he's a rookie. He should have a chance. But we tried it. Again, us going after Mark Williams shows that we are a good franchise, because we at least tried to address the issue. All right, man.
Thank you.
Yeah, for sure.
We won that one.
Yeah, I like
Okay.
All right, real quick, checking in with the judges before our last two topics. What do y'all think?
All right, we're going to let my boy go first since we were being.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the haters on that one. Great point. Definitely stepped it up.
Yeah, I like the haters too. Boy with the Yankees hat, I feel like he said some really good points. I'd like to see him come up more and talk too. Good job.
More participation needed.
I'm gonna go with the haters as well.
Okay.
They controlled the conversation and the debate, and they had a lot of facts to back it up.
All right, so there's still a chance for the haters with 2 topics remaining.
The 2020 championship was way harder than people give credit for. Oh, y'all agree? Oh, wow.
Oh, let's go.
There you go.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Gotta bring us home.
They won the championship. Absolutely.
Yes.
Way harder than people give it credit for. That was the best basketball that anyone was playing at that time. Look at the shooting percentages. They had no distractions. Nobody had to go on the road. They had the best team. They were playing Jimmy Buckets and a bunch of pipsqueaks, okay?
How did they get to that point, though?
They played the Nuggets, who were tired from coming back down 3-1.
They were tired.
Yeah, they were tired. It was Jokic. Look, he gets tired, okay? That's his fatal flaw, all right?
Okay.
And that Nuggets team was not ready at all.
Okay.
And then they had a pretty easy route to get there before that.
They weren't ready, but they beat the team that everybody thought was going to win in the Clippers.
Yeah, and you've been saying this entire time how lame the Clippers are. That's not that impressive.
But that was their best roster by far.
Yeah, but they had the Doc Rivers special. They lost a 3-1 series. Okay.
Oh, okay.
You know,
all right.
so that's what the Nuggets, and the Nuggets obviously became what they were after that run because they played the Lakers. But the Lakers, without a doubt, it's a championship, but it's not underrated. It was a bubble
I
championship.
kind of feel like you're proving my point. You started out by saying it was the best basketball to be played. So that means that if it was the best basketball, that means that we went up against the best competition. If accuracy, efficiency, scoring was all up, as you claim, which as a sidebar has been debunked that it was relatively similar to what it normally is. But if that's your argument, then that would further prove the point to how difficult it is. If everybody's playing at their best, which Jimmy Butler, that is probably the best version of Jimmy Butler we've seen throughout his entire career. If Jimmy Butler's playing at his best, if Jokic and them are playing so well, they can come back from not just one but two blown being down 1-3. That was some of the best basketball we not only seen from Devin Booker and the Suns, but also Bubble T.J. Warren. Then you had Damian Lillard playing some of the best basketball as well as James Harden. Like, you're literally making the point for me. And on top of that, the Lakers were down a starter throughout the entire time and still won a championship. So you're proving the point. The fact that there was no distractions, no travel, everyone was basically relatively healthy, and because there was nothing really to stop them, everyone is focused in. It's the most focus you get out of anyone, and the Lakers still come out on top. That's the reason why it's much more difficult than people give it credit for.
And they still went to 6 games against a pretty mediocre Miami team.
Because that's how good Jimmy Butler was playing. That's how great he was playing.
That championship is not as good as other championships that they could have won. It still counts as a championship, I'll give you that, but they played a defeated and tired Nuggets team, and then a Miami team that kept having to go long series against the Celtics and the Bucks in their conference.
Now, what does it have to do with us if
Because
we beat the teams that we're in front of us so well that we didn't have to go to 7 games to beat them? Like, what was that? What did that do with us? We were rested, everything ready to go, and again, there is no travel, so everyone is rested. Everyone is rested.
But it was COVID. These guys had long COVID. You know that it was affected.
Long COVID is crazy. Not short COVID. Long COVID is crazy.
Yeah.
All right.
A championship is a championship at the end of the day, but the strength of schedule the Lakers played not so great given the Clippers did choke. It was the Clippers' fault, but they played the Miami Heat, who was a 5th seed, and they didn't even have Goran Dragic. After game 1, he got that foot injury, and Bam Adebayo was banged up a lot, so that was one of the easiest titles the Lakers won at full strength with AD and LeBron.
AD was not full strength. No, he wasn't. AD was hurt. AD got hurt in the finals as well.
Later in the series, he still pulled it off and made some clutch plays, but Miami was super hurt.
Oh, they were super hurt. Okay. I want to be clear. Again, Avery Bradley did not play. We were missing a starter the entire time. So we were already down a man. And then on top of that, AD got hurt in the finals as well. But again, this like the strength of schedule, it's not our fault that the Clippers decided not to show up for the last 2 to 3 games of their series. That's on them. And on top of that, if you are good enough to come back down 1-3, not once but twice, that shows how great the Nuggets were at that point, even with them being young. And the fact that AD can go out there and do what he did all postseason run, because I think a lot of people knew LeBron was going to dominate that way. It was even more impressive to see that AD had to play at that level for them to win in the dominant fashion that they did. Be very mindful as well. They went down 0-1 in not only round 1, but in round 2, and they still dominate both of those teams that were able to beat them in the first game. So this idea that like it was just this easy cakewalk, but in real time, you can see several people sitting there claiming that, oh, this is going to be a very difficult team. They're going to have to face this team is also going to be very difficult, and they end up losing to all of them in 5 games, and then go on to beat the same Denver Nuggets team that went on to beat the Clippers that everybody was calling the next Chicago Bulls, comparing Scottie Pippen and Michael Jordan to Kawhi Leonard and Paul George.
Jokic was not like Jokic back then, though, and the Lakers were one of the only few teams alongside with the Clippers and the Bucks because of like sad political reasons. They wanted to leave the bubble in the first place. They wanted to, but then the league decided like, oh, we're gonna keep playing. So the Lakers, they didn't even want to be in there fully, but they did win that championship. So there's a lot of stuff that's missing.
Everybody don't want to be there until they're losing down. Like everybody was there. People were up. They were there. But hey, man.
The bubble Lakers, the only title team that did not have their parade, and it's too late now.
No, that's it.
Shots fired. Take that. And can't even rebuttal to that.
After this, the last topic with our grand finale debater.
Okay, now I'll tell you this. It wasn't equal for everybody.
Okay.
Where was LeBron staying? He had different accommodations than every other player in the bubble.
Okay.
And not everyone wanted to be there because before the bubble started, the Clippers said that they wanted to be out. They didn't even want to play. So some teams really lacked that motivation because of what was going on in the world.
They had the motivation when they were up 3-1.
But you know what else I'll tell you? They tried to kick my man Lou Williams out because he just wanted some wings. Wings. So if a player can't get food, something he needs to survive, how can I really
This is gaslighting. This is gaslighting. Everybody got food. It's not like he was starving in the bubble. Everybody got something to eat. What are you talking about?
Aren't you from Atlanta?
Yes.
So how good are the wings from Magic City?
They're trash. They're trash. Overrated. They're overrated. First of all, I'm big, so I definitely know about the wings. They're not good at all. And again, if you're not disciplined enough to just stay in the bubble, you're in a highly accommodated situation, and you are up 3-1. That is a terrible excuse. You had and Paul George is sitting there talking to Dennis Schroeder. Oh yeah, we ready. I'm healthy. Everybody ready to go. We got this player, that player. He's on the Instagram Live chatting it up, acting as if like they ready to go. They go up 3-1. Now all of a sudden you're not motivated no more. That don't make no sense. That just sounds like a loser to me. That's what it sounds like to me. LeBron would never allow that to happen. So I'm just saying right now. So there's that.
I just wanted to say that. I really don't care.
You don't care.
Where did he stay, Deshaun? Where did he stay? What hotel?
He had the best accommodation.
Where was it?
I don't know the name. It was on the resort.
It was still on the resort.
None of the players saw him, and even when they used to go out to get food,
It was still on the resort.
You know that.
It was still on the resort.
Okay.
It was on the
All right, regardless of what you thought, I need you to judge based on what you heard, okay? So even if you don't think the Lakers are the greatest franchise, if he convinced you, you got to be honest. So let's start and reveal our winner.
I'm going to go with the Lakers fan. You guys were a little bit more opinion-based, and towards the end of the debate, you guys did start to understand the facts that he was bringing to the table, debated it a little bit better, but he just held his ground from beginning to end. I'll give it to the Lakers fan. Too little, too late.
Same thing. I'm really biased against the Lakers, so like me saying this right now is just like killing me. I know people see this.
You don't have to say that.
No, I have to say it though. It has to be said because it's a very important factor. And then even it's super important for me. Even like that last argument, like I even think Ilserim's not even the best third option in LA. I think Norman Powell was a better third option for we're gonna talk about scoring and stuff like that, well basketball wise. Even was almost an all-star. Austin Reeves wasn't close to all-star this season. He had kind of good numbers, but voting-wise, he wasn't. Yeah, for sure, yeah. So, unfortunately, I'm giving it to the Lakers.
Unfortunately, it's crazy. That's crazy. That's nuts.
All right, let's see if it's a clean sweep, though.
As a Celtics fan, I can't stand the Lakers. Still the best franchise, 18 championships. But I got to give it to the Lakers fan. And the reason why I say that is because he controlled the topic from beginning to end. In the beginning, the haters were kind of off topic, like the other judge said, opinionated. He kept the same topic that he brought up the entire way, but the haters stepped up big time at the end. If it was one more topic and the haters won, I would have given it to the haters.
This whole thing is about opinions.
But I would
he
say
stayed
that
on top
it was
of it,
his. It was
So
his
you don't think they
question,
judged
so
fairly?
He kind of knew how he wanted to dictate the conversation.
They can't be a judge to the judge. What are we doing?
A victory for Laker Nation. Y'all let us know, who do you want us to hate on next?